All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about everybody's favorite subject and doing it in real time for a few real people out here, just like you there and just like me here. All right, every video is partly brought to you by Buy Me a Coffee. All right, so Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, YouTube memberships, and PJ Rock Super Chats. I named the super chat after PJ Rock because he is my he's like my only super chatter. Good guy. Thanks, PJ. Uh, because of PJ, I can put gas in my car, and it's cool. So I'm very grateful for that. Again, when I talk about Steve Perry, I want to say some things. All right. So I guess people are looking for a Steve Perry cheerleading channel, but I think there's already a couple of those out there. So no matter who I talk about, sometimes I'm going to be cheerleading. Other times I'm just going to state some things and some opinions, maybe some unpopular viewpoints on certain aspects of whoever I'm talking about. Um, Again, this is why I tell people, if there were a Fluffy Bunny channel, someone told me that there is, but I haven't been able to find it, but I will go look for it. And if there's a channel where bunnies are just jumping around, cats are falling off of tables, whatever it is that is entertaining to you, I would suggest you go over there. Now, the views expressed on this channel are my own. They're not some other journalist or some other commentator. I tend to come at things a little differently, maybe from left field sometimes. There's some political stuff. There's some faith stuff, which I know really irritates a few people. I mean, the comments I get, you could see where there's a real different spirit, shall we say. And so, anyway, when I talk about Steve Perry, I'm not trying to make Steve Perry look bad. In fact, I have stuck up for Steve Perry. I think he's a brilliant businessman. I think he's one of the greatest rock singers of all time. Um, and I think he got a really great deal when he left Journey. I am a little frustrated with the never ending, I might tour. My new record is coming out soon. I've got music in the pipeline. And then you get, a duet with Willie Nelson or Dolly Parton. You get another version of a Christmas album, and some people are a little frustrated with that. It's good to hear that he's still trying to create, but recently there's been a lot of speculation about whether or not Steve Perry will go back out on tour, and there are rumors all the time about Journey. I think that's the last thing Steve Perry would do. And then recent photos of Steve Perry. Now, let me show one of the more recent pictures of Steve Perry. And there's Steve, okay? Some people are saying Steve Perry is unrecognizable in 2025 photo. Yeah, this was back in January, right after his birthday, 76 years old. Apparently, he got his nose in the cake a little bit there. And I wonder if that cake was delivered. Look, he's 76, okay? As he would say, he's not a spring chicken anymore. Um, but he could still go out there. He could still perform if he wanted to. My guess is he just doesn't need to, nor does he want to. Now, I think he's recognizable. He still looks like Steve Perry. We're all getting older, unfortunately. It's a fact of life, and we have to deal with it. Some people age a little more gracefully than others, and other people, I don't know. It's like Rick Springfield. Um, Still haven't figured that out. Ringo Starr. There are some people out there that kind of defy logic. Steve has been out of the limelight for quite some time, and he doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need to do maintenance. He's not in the public eye. Now, if he were to go out there on tour, he might tidy up a little bit. That's the only expression that came to mind. Maybe the hair could be maintained a little. At least he's got hair. I don't have a lot of hair. So good for Steve Perry. And I get that a lot. A lot of forehead going on there. Well, um, the gene pool that I'm from didn't do well with hair, especially later on in life. So there are a lot of people that are worse off than I am. So that's the way I look at it. It could be worse. But Steve's got a lot of hair. So, he could still go out there and be presentable. He might want to maybe restrict his diet a little bit. I don't know. He may want to work out. Well, he's 76. He's not going to work out at that age. Why not? Willie Nelson was doing stuff at 90. Really, I'm serious. There's articles about how, Willie is working out. He's keeping in shape. And Steve Perry just did a duet with Willie Nelson. I don't know if you've heard it, but if you haven't, it's out there. It's a remake of the song Faithfully. And I did commentary about that right here on the Harmless Dave channel. But the hardcore Steve Perry fans, I would say mostly the women who are, say, 55 and over, Steve Perry doesn't have to do anything to make them happy. He just has to every so often show up and say something and do something. Like he auctioned off a bunch of stuff, and I think he made like $250,000 or something for fire relief in California. I did a video about it, and a bunch of people were like, "You have nothing good to say about Perry." And all I was saying in the video is he probably should have just kept the stuff, because the money he raised, and I don't know if it went to the firefighters or who it went to, but if you're thinking about rebuilding something in California, that amount of money might rebuild a bedroom in California, if you're lucky, all right? And if the builder is, well, I was going to say something about who the builder is hiring for employees, but I won't go there, all right? I'll try to keep this nice. I was just saying, he should have kept the memorabilia. I mean, I'm sure someone is going to sell that stuff in a few years, and it's going to be like the Don Henley Hotel California lyrics or something. But those guys apparently just acquired it. At least Steve Perry got some money for this. And, people are saying, well, he doesn't need stuff anymore. He's trying to get rid of some of it. And all right, that's fair enough. And it's good publicity, like I said in the video. But I'm not a straight up cheerleader 24/7 for anybody in this industry. There are some really good people, and there are some people that, are a little questionable. And Steve Perry isn't on either side of that equation. I think Steve Perry got a raw deal when he was in Journey the first time around. The second time, I think Journey got a raw deal, quite honestly. And since then, it's all been just, will Steve come back? Will he go on tour? What's he doing next? And people love to speculate. It's a cottage industry. And there are channels that just cover certain people. And I know Steve Perry is fascinating to many people. And like I always said in the past, the absence makes the heart grow fonder. You could speculate about any kind of thing that Steve Perry might do. You don't know if he's going to do it or not because he doesn't really tell you. And then when he shows up out of the blue, everyone is shocked and people go into heavy-duty reporting mode. And I know people aren't going to like this, but Steve Perry is bringing in ratings, much like a certain president of the United States, because people love to hate Trump, so they put him on TV just so people can hate on him, and the people who love Trump obviously are tuned in to hear what he's going to say. I don't know too many people that hate Steve Perry, so there is definitely a difference. I think Perry not being in the limelight all the time makes it more interesting when he has something to say. But see, I'm a music fan, right? I want to hear some music. I want to hear Steve Perry make that record that he hasn't ever made. I want him to go full R&B. I want him to sing his heart out, and I want him to maybe come up with a new hook, a new lyric, something different, something original that we can listen to and celebrate. And that would be very cool. Will he do that? I'm thinking he still could. So I'm going to keep the speculating going. As far as the touring and the public appearances and all of that fun people watching stuff that a lot of people are obsessed with, I don't know if Steve Perry's up for that. I think he's really fine just living his life and being mostly secluded. And there's no harm, there's no shame in that. If you go out there, you're going to encounter people. And those people, most of the time, are not going to be friendly. They're not going to be nice to you, especially since the whole pandemic thing. I think the world changed a lot, and it's not going back. The new normal is weird. That's the new normal. The old normal isn't coming back. So I'm sure Steve Perry, even in the old days, probably didn't want to go out, and now he's probably even less apt to go out there. So we wait to see if Journey comes back, right? We'll wait because they are on a break, okay? That break could last longer than Ross and Rachel's break. So we'll keep an eye on that because I think that's kind of interesting too, because I think there's a rift between Neil and John. And John being back in the White House, basically, because his wife is more or less advising the president. I think there's probably even more of a rift than there was before, but nobody's talking about it. There might be a gag order in place. Who knows at this point? It's a money-making machine, and eventually they're going to probably fire up that machine again and try to hit the stadium circuit one more time. That would be my guess, is with Journey, there might be one more big tour in them, but who knows? Maybe it'll go on for another 10 years. That, to me, would be highly unlikely, all right? So anyway, folks, just some mindless speculation about Steve Perry and Journey. Again, it's a slow day in the world of classic rock, so when in doubt, talk about Steve Perry and Journey. Also, before I go, this band here, if you like some good quality Toto Foreigner-esque type music, this is Outlasted. This is a band from Denmark. Their album is called Universal Human Desire, and I'm pretty impressed with this, all right? I've gone real light on buying things this year. Just, I can't afford it like I used to, so that's why I said Patreon, buy me a coffee. It's helpful. But this is a really good band. So check him out if you have the chance to. You know, you don't waste any money because you can stream it on all the usual platforms. I'm Dave. God bless everyone. God bless Steve Perry, man. I hope he's doing well. And if he ever wants to come on the show, his people can reach out to my people, and we'll get it done.